Election interference is very real, but we've all been focusing on foreign interference, specifically by China, which is obviously going to be the center of this video. But we also have to remember that our own state-funded media like CBC and our other mainstream media like Global News and CTV, they also provide a form of domestic election interference. In my opinion, they misrepresent facts. They always prop up the liberals, and obviously they have a huge audience, which is why most of my videos and other content creators alike are so critical of these mainstream media platforms, because they're literally lying, misrepresenting the facts, and it's really helping the liberals. And that's what we're taking a look at in this video. China has been meddling yet again in our elections. They did it in 2019, they did it in 2021, and they're doing it now out in the open. And what's our government's response? Well, the government's response has been, oh, Mark Carney's a victim because China is helping him. Doesn't make any sense. So we're going to take a look at the entire facts, this new secret threat department, their latest announcement, Global News' report, and then we can also provide our opinion. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. And without further ado, let's get into this absolutely nonsense story. Here we go. Mark Carney is being targeted by China, but it's a consensual target. He's come out and he said that he admires the Chinese dictatorship. No, wait, that was Justin Trudeau. Or was that Mark Carney who said it? You know what? Two peas in the same pod. Let's just chalk it up as they both said it, because they both seem to really admire the Chinese dictatorship. And we are actually facing Chinese election interference, quite literally. Our national security has confirmed it, and we're about to take a look at that right now. It's a breaking news story, and this newfound, what is it, a security task force? Let's take a look here. Right on CPAC, Security Task Force provides update on upcoming election and election interference. So we've seen this chick on previous Security Task Force updates. Let's take a look now, because this is nuts. China, China, China. What is it with China and Canada? Why is it always Chinese election interference, huh? You gotta wonder. You gotta wonder. But before we get into it, let me acknowledge some people in the chat, huh? Let's see. Shane says, I love China. That's crazy. There's a Chinese name that says China, China, China. All right, that's pretty interesting. Who else we got in the chat? John Boko, good to see you again. Very good to see you again. Sergeant Bass Master, good to see you again here, man. Look at that. Terrelyn Morgan, good to see you in the chat as well. And, well, let's, I think there's a lot of other familiar names here, but let's just get right into it, shall we? Security Task Force provides a Chinese election interference. Here we go.
Are aware of an information operation targeting the 45th general election on the social media platform WeChat. The information operation was launched by Yoli Yomien, WeChat's most popular news account. Intelligence reporting links the Yoli Yomien account to the PRC, Chinese Communist Party's Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission. The content of this information operation contains story about the Prime Minister, Liberal Party of Canada leader, and candidate in Nepean, Mark Carney. This content has been amplified in a coordinated and inauthentic way. This information operation had contrasting positive and negative narratives, first amplifying Mr. Carney's stance with the United States, and then targeting his experience and credentials. The site task force assesses that the foreign state-backed information operation was intended to influence Canadian Chinese communities and look to mold perceptions about the candidate. The campaign received high levels of user engagement and views, between 85,000 and 130,000 interactions, and an estimate of 1 to 3 million views.
Oh, wow.
WeChat developer Tencent reports that the platform itself has over 1.3 billion monthly active users, but has not disclosed how many of those users live overseas. The activity saw large spikes of what is believed to be coordinated inauthentic behavior on March 10th and 25th, 2025.
Ooh.
Following increasing levels of engagement on the platform, the Liberal Party representative was briefed about the findings on April 6th. The site task force will be discussing this issue with Tencent, the developer of WeChat, later today to raise our concerns.
So they're using, instead of using like Facebook or WhatsApp, they're using Weibo or WeChat or some Chinese made, social media app to basically coordinate massive amounts of, like persuasion in certain maybe swing ridings. Like, this is a real thing. This isn't some grungy YouTube video or Rumble stream. Like, this is a real freaking thing. The media is acknowledging this, but the media's spin on this is that Mark Carney is a victim of this, even though it's tremendously helping him. It's to his benefit, if I'm not mistaken. And he's come out and he's said how much he admires the Chinese communist dictatorship, right? So, I mean, him or Trudeau, but two peas in the same pod will, again, chalk it up to they both said it, right? This is so freaking bizarre. So bizarre that this is still like an ongoing thing. We've had this. Our government, our CSIS intelligence squad, right? Our national security has come out in the past, and we've all seen it in the House of Commons, where they've literally confirmed that there has been election interference. But in the past, they've said, well, it wasn't enough to make somebody win or make somebody lose. But we acknowledge that, yes, there is actual election interference. So now we're at the crossroads. We're like 3 weeks away from the biggest election in Canadian history. It feels like it's Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope type of moment right now in Canada. We are on track for a full-blown dictatorship, or we're on track to put Canada first, Canadian investments first, and to bring back the nationalism that we once had here in Canada, right? The national pride. And now we're being faced with more election interference. Like, what the heck is wrong with Canada? This isn't the Canada that I voted for. This isn't the Canada anybody voted for. Why are we always catching up after the fact? Okay, well, 2 weeks ago, there was some interference. 3 weeks ago, there was some interference. Why aren't they able to prevent it? Like, they know the communication channels. They know how it's going about. It's been the same methods that they've used for years, yet we're always behind. It's so disingenuous.
At this time, the panel has determined that this is not affecting Canada's ability to have a free and fair election.
Oh, give me a break.
It's contained to one platform and has not spread further, nor is it affecting Canadians' abilities to make informed decisions about their vote. Les Canadiens doivent retenir qu'il s'agit.
So the government and our intelligence organizations acknowledge that there is interference, that there is propaganda, that there is, buying votes and manipulation and threats within the Chinese communities to either Chinese Canadians or propaganda even in certain ridings, swing ridings in this country. Yet their response is, it doesn't really matter that much. I don't know, man. That seems very disingenuous to me.
Question the information they see online.
It's very disingenuous. If you find out that there's any form of interference, absolutely. Even one riding could be enough to make a big enough impact in this election. This is all or nothing. Everybody's paying attention. Just as patriotic and as enthusiastic that you and I feel about this election, there's also a massive movement on the left as well. So this is like the two forces are coming together. This is a two-party election, conservative and liberals, and that's it, right? The NDP is going into extinction after this election. The Bloc Québécois they're kind of vote splitting, but they're going to be pretty irrelevant after this, right? This is a two-party election, and we need to make sure that there's minimum to no interference at all. And any amount of interference is a huge risk to our democracy.
Elections Canada's focus.
Task force briefings. The current threat landscape is unique from previous election periods, in part as threat actors adapt their methods and conceal their foreign interference activities. Cette évaluation s'applique également au paysage numérique.
Like, what country have you ever seen that can admit that they have election interference and they say, well, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. Only in Canada have I ever seen this type of response in a democratic society. I'm completely blown away. I don't even recognize this country anymore.
For instance, mis- and disinformation online can be fueled by artificial intelligence through its ability to leverage algorithms to amplify messages and content, and its ability to further generate fake images and videos such as deepfakes. Il incombe à chacun de protéger.
Okay, so they're using deep fakes and artificial intelligence to prop up the liberal ideology or to hammer into the conservatives and to slander, do these slander campaigns using AI. And they're saying that that's not that big of a deal. Kind of weird, man. Kind of weird.
Contribution to make.
In a recent Government of Canada statement of Canadian democratic principles that calls on all of society to take action to protect the democratic principles of integrity, transparency, authenticity, and accountability. It is also why the government has been engaging with representatives from social media platforms and tech companies for several months to discuss our mutual commitment to free, fair, and secure elections. These discussions are ongoing and have been productive.
Canada and our democracy should be celebrated. In fact, I was talking with a friend about this recently, and we should be almost celebrating election day. There should be parades. There should be an election week, because like a whole parade, a whole festivity, and it should be almost as popular as Canada Day, in my opinion. The fact that we have the ability to vote, there are people from other countries that never have the ability to vote. And if you really feel like your vote doesn't matter and that you feel like it's 100% rigged, then what's the point of you even voting anyways? People still go out and vote. So we should be celebrating the fact that we have the ability to vote, that we have the ability to actually elect through a democratic election every 4 years, right? Give or take, right? Every 4 years, we should be celebrating that fact. Because there's a lot of people that are even laying in hospital beds that don't, here in Canada, that don't have that ability to vote. They don't have the means to even call in and make that vote. There's a lot of people that just, I feel like we take it for granted in this country. And yeah, I agree. I've been part of the problem because I've never voted federally. But this is so exciting that we have the ability to vote. There should be parades and it should be election week. It should be a whole celebration. Not to like try and turn it into, you know, something that's like a little cuckoo, but it really should be. We live in a democratic society and we should be celebrating the fact that all party leaders, all parties should get together and say, you know what, this isn't liberal week. This isn't conservative week. This is nothing. We're just going to do parades and we're going to celebrate the fact that we live in a democratic part of the world and we have the ability to vote, and we should be going about it in that way. That's my opinion, folks. I think that would be a really cool addition to our culture, to face paint for the kids and celebrating Canadian history and Canadian culture, poutine stands everywhere, beaver tails or elephant ears, whatever you want to call them, right? People playing hockey, slap shot contests. Like, we should be celebrating Canadian culture leading into election week. It should be a massive festivity. But no, we don't. Instead, we're faced with freaking Chinese foreign interference, and our security officials are saying, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. Come on, man. What the heck is wrong with this country? We're going in the wrong direction. We're going in the wrong direction.
Government of Canada officials are meeting regularly with platforms to share information on emerging issues and encourage them to uphold the principles of integrity, transparency, and authenticity. We also engage platforms to share information regarding online activities that may threaten democratic process integrity, such as foreign information manipulation and interference operations, suspected bot activity, and coordinated inauthentic behavior. Nous comptons sur les plateformes des médias sociaux.
So they know that it's there, and their response is nothing. They have no response. Oh my goodness. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. This undermines our democracy when they do this stuff. This undermines the faith that people have in our system. Talk about believing in Canada, the Canadian culture, the Canadian way of life, hearing that there's actual interference. They acknowledge there's interference, and they don't think it's that big of an issue.
Community standards.
The platform has their own rules in terms of services and ways to report disinformation. Content that violates these terms should be reported to the platform. Cette responsabilité.
And oftentimes it's bot accounts, right? Like you have like AI generated content and stuff that's putting out fake, headlines and stuff like that. And there's never a face, there's never a name, there's no company attached to it. It's just bots. It's all AI orchestrated.
Questions about social and digital media platforms' actions or services should be addressed directly with the individual platforms. It is important that we all remain vigilant and proactive to help ensure the safety of our collective digital environment and the integrity of the information we consume online. We cannot and will not take for granted the system that underpins our rights, freedoms, and Canadian values that we hold dear. Democracy thrives in the light and in our collective actions. Nous encourageons les Canadiens.
Democracy does thrive in the light, and our government's answer and our security team's answer is acknowledging that there is a problem, but not providing any form of a solution. This is demoralizing. It's very, very demoralizing for the average Canadian that has full trust in the system and gets excited to go vote and encourages people to go vote. Then you find out stuff like this, that we're being, attacked by either a foreign government, a malicious group of some sort that wants to manipulate our democratic electoral process, and nothing, no answer.
The panel will continue to meet regularly to be briefed by the site task force. This will be done at least once a week or more often as required.
That's her answer. So the answer to foreign interference in Canada is we're going to meet regularly and we're going to talk about it. That's it. That's the answer. That's absurd to me. That's absolutely insane. It undermines Canada's democracy. It makes us look vulnerable. It makes us look gullible. It makes us look tolerating of this type of behavior. And Canada's answer is we're going to meet regularly and we're going to talk about it on a panel, and we're going to just tell people that it's out there, and that's it. That's our government's answer. That's our security task force answer. In the middle of the most pivotal and divisive election in Canadian history, the answer is nothing. That's absolutely embarrassing by our Canadian government. That's absolutely embarrassing by our security teams here in Canada, like CSIS. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. Global News is reporting Liberal leader Mark Carney has been targeted by Chinese state-backed information operation on social media. He's been targeted. And you see the top comment here. What a BS headline. He hasn't been targeted. He's being assisted. You mean China is helping him? If we're in a serious country, this would be grounds for dismissal from the race, right? People have been dropped from the Liberal leadership race for less. People have been investigated for less. Yet Mark Carney gets encouragement from Chinese operatives. He gets help from Chinese operatives, and our media says that he's a victim, that he's targeted, but it's all to help him, very much visibly to help him. Carney assisted by Chinese WeChat operation in Canada election, say officials. Canadian officials monitoring the federal election for foreign interference said Monday that they have detected Chinese-backed operation targeting Liberal leader Mark Carney on social media platform WeChat. You remember the Indian guy that ran for the Liberal leader in Nepean, right? Chandra or whatever his name was. Okay. He got booted because India was apparently helping him. the Indian government or Indian operatives, under either with Modi's consent or through some affiliation to the government, Chandra was apparently getting help and being assisted by India, right? Let's just chalk it up to the entire country. And their response was booting him from the leadership race for the Liberal Party during the Liberal leadership race, right? To be interim prime minister. Now, remove India and enter China, remove Chandra and enter Carney, and now it's okay. And he's a victim of it, right? They're trying to make him out to be a victim for sympathy votes. This is what's so disingenuous about our media. Like, it actually angers me. I don't know what I can do about it other than make these videos and scream from the top of my lungs with thumbnails and titles that are saying, breaking news, China is literally controlling our country. India has tried. They get a slap on the wrist. China tries, and sympathy goes out to the victims of it. The victims, in quotation marks, that are literally getting assisted by it. So they're not victims. They're they're what, bystanders? I don't know what to say, but it's so disingenuous that our media is spinning these words to try and literally persuade people to think that Mark Carney's a victim in order to benefit him and get more votes in this election. Like, this is, talk about domestic interference, domestic election interference versus foreign election interference. We are more at risk from domestic propaganda by our own state media like CBC and our own media like Global News than we ever have been by China. Global News could literally say Mark Carney should be investigated as to how China is assisting him, but they don't. Instead, he's a victim and he's targeted. Like, this is literally election interference domestically. Domestically, it's absolutely absurd. It's insane. I'm sorry for going on these rants, but this just pisses me off so much because I'm a product of this system. At least that's how I feel. I was in the military. I was forced to be apolitical. I've trusted the system. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I've trusted the entire democratic system in Canada. I've trusted that everything is going to be okay, that the government is there to help you because I worked for the government. I trusted it. And now I'm seeing it fail me time and time and time again. And our media props up. It's always propping up a liberal government. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. Like, I'm not saying that the Conservatives, either Pierre or other government, should be propped up by the media, but it's always liberals that get this little layup by the media. It's always our mainstream media, and it's a monopoly. CBC, CTV, Global News. And then they reject other independent media like True North, now Juno, and Rebel News, and creators like myself that make these videos. They reject us, they dismiss us, and they chalk us up to be right-wing extremist, crazy conspiracy theories, when I can literally use common sense and say, if he's benefiting from China, how is he a victim of this? This should be an immediate investigation by CSIS, by RCMP, by Interpol. You're talking about a leader of a pretty big country, Canada, right? Okay, maybe not by population, but by economic weight and our potential that we can bring to the table, because we're not even using a fraction of our potential. Okay? But the potential that we could bring to the world stage for what we bring for our minerals and resources and our economic potential of powerhouse. The leader of our country is just fully compromised. And he was compromised. Trudeau was extremely compromised. And so is this guy now. Seems even worse. Freaking crying out loud, man. It makes me so angry. And it makes me feel like I'm losing my mind. Like I'm a freaking loony bin. All right. The information operation was launched by Yuli Yumian, WeChat's most popular news account, which has been linked to Chinese Communist Party's Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission, officials from the security and intelligence threats to elections. According to the assessment unveiled Monday, The operation was intended to influence Chinese Canadian communities and mold perceptions about Carney through articles that were amplified and spread by other WeChat accounts in a coordinated and inauthentic way. Like, how is this even allowed? The information operation had contrasting positive and negative narratives, first amplifying Mark Carney's stance with the United States and then targeting his experience and credentials. I don't think we can speak to the intent, but I will say that the PRC, the People's Republic of China, should not be trying to shape the opinions of Canadians, particularly during an election period. Yeah, no duh. Let's see what Freeland once said about this.
It's an extremely serious allegation leveled against the Chinese government. A panel of top federal security officials are alleging that the People's Republic of China is behind coordinated and malicious activities targeting Chrystia Freeland's Liberal leadership campaign. It's alleged the operation took place on WeChat, which is an extremely popular Chinese social media app, and it's been traced back to WeChat's most popular news accounts that experts have linked with the Chinese government. Now, the posts were amplified by over 30 other WeChat accounts with articles that disparage Freeland, seen by an estimated 2 to 3 million users worldwide. Freeland responded on social media saying, "I will not be intimidated by Chinese foreign interference. Having spent years confronting authoritarian regimes, I know firsthand the importance of defending our freedoms." WeChat campaigns against Canadian politicians have allegedly happened before, with former Conservative MP Kenny Chiu saying he was targeted during the 2021 election due to his support for some foreign interference measures. Now, this information came out late Friday night from a press release from a group called the Site Task Force, which has folks from CSIS, the RCMP, Global Affairs, and Canada's Cyber Spy Agency, all there to identify foreign interference during election periods. But the group going public with this level of detail is extremely rare. During the 2019 and 2021 elections, they did not go public with any foreign interference concerns like they did tonight with the alleged attack against the Freeland campaign. Mackenzie Gray, Global News.
So now it's out in the open for everybody to see in the middle of an election, and the media just tries to swipe it under the rug. It's extremely disingenuous, and it's extremely nerve-wracking that this is happening literally during an election. I don't like this at all. This undermines our democracy. This undermines everything about Canada. And this is why we need to change government. And we need a government that's going to crack down on this and not tolerate this, and specifically defund our state-funded media that keeps propping up liberal ideologies and falsehoods. It's literal propaganda. I mean, I can't stand this anymore. That, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, it would be super awesome for you guys to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn post notifications on. It's that little bell notification so you can actually stay updated on information. Let's try and get the channel over to 500,000 subscribers before the end of the election. It'd be super awesome, very helpful in combating mainstream media propaganda. I look forward to seeing you guys in another video. Bye for now.